Hello everyone. Mic test, 1, 2, 3. Yeah, seems like the mic is working just fine. We have It's 12 p.m. UK time now. Let's give a couple of minutes, and then we can start taking up the questions. Roshan able to hear you. Thanks, Ruba. Right. In the meantime, I will answer the main question of the Q&A. So the question of this Q&A is, why not to be a data scientist, or don't become a data scientist if following points. So yeah, let's get going. I have made a few points here so that I don't forget any of those. Yeah, so I have all these points with me. So why not to blah blah blah. I'm not able to speak properly, I guess. So yeah, why not to be a data scientist? The first one is intense workload. So when you're working as a software developer, you have a clear objective that you need to build certain things, and you have your features with you. And if you are someone who knows how to build those things, there's a clear pathway to build those things and incorporate those features into your application. Whereas in data science, it's a lot about exploration and finding things. So sometimes you can go into the wrong path, and then you'll have to drag back, and then you need to explore something else. So it can take quite a long time to do certain things. So it's going to be very intensive, and the workload can be quite a lot. The next point is going to be the technical skills. So if you don't like maths and stats and programming, then maybe data science is not for you, because I have seen quite a lot of people when they feel like they're not really good at programming, so they should get away from software development and take a different route, which is data science. But that's not how it works, because even as a data scientist, you'll have to write quite a lot of code, and it can be pretty exhausting if you don't like writing code. And it's not just about writing code, because maybe you don't need object-oriented programming to start with, but it's also about maths and stats, so you need to be interested in maths and stats as well. And the next point is going to be continuous learning. You might know data science moves really fast. Every day there is a new development in the market. So if you're someone who doesn't like continuous learning, then data science is not for you. You will be learning new things every single day. So continuous learning is an integral part of being a data scientist. So now the next point is data cleaning and data preparation. So machine learning, deep learning, Gen AI, they all sound quite fun. And every time somebody says that I want to be a data scientist, they're always very keen to learn machine learning and deep learning. But you need to understand that majority of the times you will be dealing with the data, cleaning the data, preparing the data, and structuring the data. So you will spend around 70% of the time dealing with the data. So if you are someone who doesn't like doing all those things, then again data science is not for you. There is an argument that you can become machine learning engineer or deep learning engineer, but then again you'll have to format your data, you will have to clean your data, because there's this saying like garbage in, garbage out. So if you don't prepare your data well, and if you just pass that through machine learning algorithm, you will get pretty bad output. So you'll have to do all those things as a machine learning or deep learning engineer as well. Now the next point is going to be communication skills. So communication skills are very important, because you will have to share your findings not with just technical stakeholders, but with non-technical stakeholders as well. So you need to have the ability to dumb down things and speak very clearly to show your findings, because findings are very important. Data is one thing, but then information is another thing. So you can extract quite a lot of information out of the data, but if your business is not able to use that information in actionable way, then that information is nothing. So you need to be very clear with your communication skills, and you need to be very good with it. Now the next point is business acumen. So business acumen is very important because you need to gain some domain knowledge, and we did talk about this in one of our previous live streams. So you need to understand the business, because once you understand the business, you will be able to ask some of the very obvious questions yourself, and what kind of questions you need to answer from using your data. So you will learn quite a lot of those things, and certain domain have different type of analysis that you need to perform, and you can perform certain set of analysis using a methodology which is only specific to that domain. For example, in insurance, they rely quite heavily on those linear models, those kind of things. So linear analysis can be very important there. So similarly, different domains have different objectives and different set of guidelines that they follow. So if you are able to build some domain knowledge, you will be able to answer those questions quite easily. And it's not just about understanding the business, you also need to have the ability to ask those difficult questions to your stakeholders. Now the last point is competitive job market. So the job market has become very competitive because everyone wants to be a data scientist, and a lot of people are there in the job market. And every time I go on LinkedIn and I look for data science roles, and I see how many people have applied to those roles, it's well over 1,000 now. So you see, for one job 1,000 people are applying, so the competition is intense. So if you're someone who doesn't want that kind of competition, then maybe data science is not for you. I hope that answered the question, why not to be a data scientist. Maybe we can talk about why to be a data scientist, because I've got these kind of questions quite a lot in LinkedIn comment section and in other places as well. So yeah, that's why I wanted to answer this question, and I will try to make a short of it and then post it in the short section, so that if you want to come back and check it out later, you will be able to look at it. Now let's take a look at some of the chats, if we have any. Right. Hi bro, I got offer letter from Leeds, Bristol, Glasgow, Newcastle and Sheffield. Which do you think is best to choose with respect to job prospect, and is it okay to come to UK for higher studies? Right, so first let's talk about the universities that you mentioned: Leeds, Bristol, Glasgow, Newcastle and Sheffield. In my personal opinion, I think Leeds, Glasgow, Newcastle and Sheffield, they all are quite good universities in terms of course content. Bristol is also fine, but I personally feel like the course content of other universities are a little bit better when compared to Bristol. The next thing is, do you have any scholarship from any of these universities? If you have scholarship from any of these universities, I would say go for that one, because in terms of resources, in terms of learning, I think they all are going to provide you kind of similar things. So again, yeah, so if you have scholarship, go ahead with one or the other. And in terms of fees, I think they all are very close to each other. There might be difference of 2,000, 3,000 pounds. I'm not saying that's a small amount, but yeah, if you look at 24,000, 25,000 or 28,000 pound fees, compared to that, I think 2-3,000 pound is not that big. So if you have any scholarship from any of those universities, that should be your first preference. Another thing is location, maybe. So Leeds is very close to Midlands, so it is considered to be as Midlands, I think. So you will be very close to London and those kind of places. Same goes for Bristol. Bristol is a relatively big city. Glasgow is in Scotland, so you'll be very close to Edinburgh. But what I've seen is some of my friends, when they came to UK, they were pursuing their masters from Glasgow, but now they are in England. So uh, they have moved out of Scotland. So I would assume that there are less opportunities in Glasgow. Newcastle, again, it's a very small place, relatively small place. So if you're not able to find opportunities in Newcastle, then you may have to move to some other city. Having said that, in Newcastle, there are quite a lot of opportunities. I did my course from Newcastle University, and my first job was in Newcastle. Currently, it is in Durham, so very close to Newcastle. So yeah, you will have quite a lot of opportunities in Newcastle as well, and same can be said for Sheffield as well. So yeah, what you need to consider is that will you be willing to move to another location? If the answer is yes, then it doesn't really matter which university you take from location perspective. Once you complete your masters, just write that I am willing to relocate to a different location, and you will be fine. So this should not affect your uh, university preference. So location should not affect your university preference. If I had to pick, my personal experience was really good with Newcastle University. I had offer from Glasgow as well. I did not apply to Bristol, Leeds, or Sheffield. I applied to very few universities, and I applied to universities from different fees bracket. So some of them, like 2 or 3 universities which were really inexpensive, and then 2 3 universities which were relatively expensive, and then University of Edinburgh, which was way too expensive for me. So I applied like that. So I applied to like 7 8 universities. I think I might be having a video on my channel talking about it. If you want to check it out, I can probably provide you the link in the chat, so do let me know. But yeah, I had offer from Glasgow and Newcastle, but I had scholarship from Newcastle University, so I chose to go with Newcastle University, and my personal experience was really good. I really liked whatever I learned and whatever was my experience at Newcastle University. So if I have to pick it again, I will pick Newcastle University out of these. But yeah, again, at the end of the day, it should be your decision whether you want to go for one or the other university. Now, coming on to the next part of your question, which is job, and is it okay to come to the UK for higher studies? For higher studies, I think it's a very good place because of two factors. I think the first one is the course is just for 1 year. So if you are someone who already knows something about data science, if you have covered programming, and maybe if you have refreshed your mathematics and statistics, then I think 1 year should be more than enough for you to pick up all these data science concepts in just 1 year. But even if you are someone who is new, fresher, and doesn't know anything about data science, you should be able to pick. But again, you'll have to put a lot more effort in. We had quite a lot of people from a lot of different backgrounds and domains. So there were few people from pharmacy, there were few people from electronics, and there were some people from statistics background as well. So they were able to complete the course, and they even found a job as a data scientist. So it's not like you won't be able to complete your course, and it will be very difficult. It's just you'll have to put some extra effort because the course is just for 1 year. And the second point is that it's very practical. So every time you go through a module, there are projects to do, and while doing those projects, you gain quite a lot of practical skills. You will be solving quite a lot of problems, and by the time you will finish your course, you will have quite a lot of projects to put in your portfolio. So it's not like you'll have to dedicate some extra time to work on different type of projects and then create your profile. So by the time you will finish your second semester, you will be good to go, and all you have to do is create your profile. So I think those are the two positives. And if I have to talk about negative, and I think you mentioned job prospect is very important. The job market is very, very competitive, and the number of jobs are falling every single day. And in terms of competitive job market, I think it is literally everywhere. Even in India, I have seen so many people trying to find a job, but not getting job that easily. So job market is competitive everywhere. But I think one other thing that makes life a little bit harder here, well, two other things that make life things a little harder here while finding a job. First one being your visa status. So when you are on post-study work visa, some companies are happy to provide you with a sponsorship, maybe after 2 years. But some companies, they don't have the ability, or they just don't want to sponsor anyone, because it adds a little bit extra cost to the company unless they find a very phenomenal candidate for a position, and they think that yes, it is worth investing. In that case, they can provide you sponsorship. So your visa status is a little bit tricky, but once you get your post-study work visa, you have 2 years, and there are quite a lot of companies, they are happy to provide you a job. But then there are quite a lot of companies, they are not. So that is something which you need to consider. But when you're applying for jobs in India or in your home country, there you don't have this visa restriction, so you will be fine. You can take as much time as you need to apply for jobs, and you should be able to find something at some point. The next thing is your communication skills, and you should be able to communicate well here, because in India, if you're working in, let's say, Delhi, Gurgaon, or even in some of the companies in Bangalore or South Indian states, you can get away with your regional language or with Hindi. You will be fine. But here, you will have to speak in English, and you need to be good in your communication. You should be able to communicate quite clearly, because that is one of the key. So if you're not able to communicate well, it doesn't matter how good you are with your technical skills, there is no way you will be able to crack the interview and you will be able to get the job. So those are some of the difficulties. So yeah, I think it was a pretty elaborated answer to your question. I hope I was able to answer your question, but if you have any follow-up question, feel free to ask in the chat. University of Edinburgh or University of Manchester, which one should I choose for data science? Both are really good universities, but if I had to pick one, I would go for University of Edinburgh, because the kind of AI research that University of Edinburgh does is kind of a benchmark in the UK. So yeah, if you have offer from both of those universities, go ahead with the University of Edinburgh, or at least it would be my preference. But again, you need to look at other things as well, like scholarship, fees, location, those kind of things. So if you think Manchester is better for you, go ahead with Manchester, you won't be disappointed. But if I had to pick one, I would go with the University of Edinburgh. You're welcome, Ranjit. I again forgot to change the frame rate of the camera, so I don't know if my audio is lagging or not. So what happened last time, well, in all the last live Q&As, the frame rate of the camera was around 50, and I use this external microphone. So when I try to sync the audio in post-processing, it doesn't work very well. So yeah, I forgot to change that again, so maybe my audio might look a little bit out of sync, but if it is not looking out of sync, then that's good. You're welcome, Saptashi. If you find these live Q&A helpful and if I'm able to answer your questions, please do give it a like. It really helps and keeps me motivated to come back and answer these questions here in Q&A format. And I personally think these Q&A sessions are very helpful for both, for you, for me, because I'm able to understand what kind of questions you have and I can be better prepared for the next one. And the other thing is that if you have any follow-up questions, you can quite easily ask those follow-up questions in the chat. Whereas when you ask these questions on LinkedIn or in the comment section, in that case, once you ask a question and I answer that question, there will be some delay if you have any follow-up questions, and sometimes I may miss those follow-up questions altogether. So you might be left with, let's say, half information, which is never good. I use this analogy quite a lot. So well, one of my teachers used to use this analogy and I picked it from him. So when I was preparing for one of the competitive exams, and you might know in India there are negative marking for some of the competitive exams. So if you don't know the answer, you will leave that answer and you will get 0 marks. If you know the answer, then you will get full marks for that question. And if you're someone who thinks you know the answer but the answer is not correct, you will get negative marks. So you will end up being in a worse position than someone who doesn't know the answer. So it's always it's never a good thing to have half information. So I think in a setup like this where we can talk in live Q&A, I think it helps the audience as well. We are 23 minutes in. Today we have quite less number of questions. I'm getting some call, don't know who this is. I'm gonna ignore for now. If we don't have any more questions, then I will get on with the video editing part. I need to edit the video which will go live on Monday. So I've created a time plan so that I will be able to post videos regularly. So I've decided that I will post one video on Monday, every Monday, 3 p.m. UK time, and then I will post one short probably on Wednesdays, and we have these live Q&As every Saturday, 12 p.m. UK time. So yeah, I've created this plan. Let's hope I will be able to follow. It's still quite early in the year, so the workload is slightly less, but it is already ramping up quite a lot. But let's see how things go, and I hope I will be able to manage. Right, so I don't think we have any more questions, and thanks everyone for joining, and I hope I was able to answer your questions. But if you have any questions, you know where to find me. and I was about to end the live Q&A. We have got another question from Sarat. Do you know anything about opportunities in Germany for data science? If yes, which one would be better among UK or Germany? So the thing about Germany, I was also looking at some of the German universities when I was applying for my master's. One thing I did notice in my research is that if you have some level of German knowledge, or you know how to speak German, you will have edge over other people, and you will be able to just a second, something weird is happening on my screen. Yeah, so if you know German, it will make your life a lot more easier to find a job. But with just English, I'm not saying that you won't be able to find a job with just English, because there are quite a lot of people they will be able to find, but then it reduces your number of opportunities quite a lot. So that is something you need to consider. And if you're someone who struggles to pick up a new language like German, then in that case I think UK is going to be the better option. But if you think you can pick up German, in that case Germany is going to be your better option, because then you will have access to other countries within Europe. But then it comes with another problem, is that they might ask you for the region specific language. For example, if you want to look in Poland, you will need to know their language, or if you want to look into Spain, then you need Spanish, and same goes with French. So yeah, there are some benefits, there are some cons as well. But yeah, picking up a new language, if that is not a problem, then Germany is going to be your best bet. But if you don't want to pick up a new language, then UK is going to be the safe option. I hope that answers your question, Sarat. I will wait for a couple of minutes because usually there is a lag in the chat. So yeah, right, okay. You're welcome, Sarat. So yeah, I will give another minute or so. So if you have any questions, feel free to put it in the chat. If not, I will get back to video editing. I'm learning quite a lot of new stuff in video editing as well, so it's fun to learn that, but sometimes it can be very tiring as well. The video editor that I use is DaVinci Resolve, and it has this dark theme, and I used to like dark theme at some point, but I've realized that when I look at the dark themed screen for a prolonged period of time, I get migraines. So I was trying to figure out, is there a way to change it to light mode, but sadly there is no light theme for that video editor, so I'll have to take breaks in between and then get back to video editing, which takes quite a lot of time. So I need to plan that accordingly so that I'll be able to post on a regular basis. Right, okay, thanks everyone for joining, and I will see you in the next Q&A, which is going to be on next Saturday, 12 p.m. UK time. I hope you'll have a great weekend. Enjoy, and happy learning. Bye.